Hey, Facebook and YouTube, welcome back to the Nader Narrative. Very excited to have a good friend of mine on here tonight, Assemblywoman Serena DiMaso. Welcome to the Nader Narrative.
Well, thank you for having me. Love being here.
Happy to have you back and excited about your candidacy. And I want to just be able to tell everybody all the amazing things you've been doing and fighting for us in New Jersey. There's so much to talk about, so we've got to get going on it because it's important that your constituents know, if they don't already, what you're up to, but a little bit of your background as always, because you are both trained in law and business, but you have a great public service background as well. Tell everybody what you've been up to in all these years serving the public.
Well, I have a Juris Doctorate, so I'm trained as an attorney. I don't practice because I really don't have time because of all the volunteer work I do.
No kidding.
So I graduated from St. John's University and moved to New Jersey in 92. Actually, 93. We bought the house in 92 and raised my family here. I knew that this is where I wanted to raise my family and, got involved immediately with PTA and what have you. And, 20 years later, 20 years in, I am now with doing public service with being an elected official. I first got elected in 2001. And as a township committee person, I served as mayor for 5 years. I was a freeholder for 6 years. And now I'm the Assemblywoman. I'm in my 4th year as Assemblywoman for Legislative District 13.
Awesome experience and happy birthday. That's why there's the balloon.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Very happy birthday.
I take off my tiara just for a little bit, but my kids love when I wear it because they know, I just have to remind them every once in a while who's in charge.
I love it. I need a tiara. I think you should wear it tonight so we can get a screenshot tomorrow in Insider New Jersey or the Globe with Serena DiMaso and her tiara, right? You deserve it. You've earned the tiara, but happy birthday. And thank you for stepping out of your big party to talk to me tonight because there are a lot of people that want to hear from you. And we know that Yeah, absolutely. And you are running again to go through the primary, to be on the ballot in the general election. When we talked last time, I don't think we were expecting for you to have a primary challenge.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are. And that's fine because this seat belongs to the people and it doesn't belong to political party bosses who, unfortunately, I don't, I guess I don't do what they ask, which is crazy because I haven't talked to them in the longest time. So, I don't really know why I'm being challenged, to be honest with you. I did call the chairman several times. He's never called me back, never given me the courtesy of a return call. So, and that's okay because like I said, this seat belongs to the people and they know how hard I'm working for them. And I'm sure that they'll return me. They'll give me the opportunity to return me to Trenton in November. So, some of the things I've been working on, most importantly, are things in the pandemic.
Yes.
We are all really at a point now where we're just, it's enough. Our numbers are way down. I'm a member of the Hackensack Meridian family. And so I get the results every other day. I get who's in the hospital, how many, and it is significantly declining just in those 12 hospitals. It's well under 200 now. It's time. We need to move forward. People are getting vaccinated. People who want to be vaccinated are getting vaccinated.
Right.
One of the bills I put in is banning a COVID passport. It was an idea that Governor Murphy floated a couple months ago on CNBC or one of those stations, and I happened to be flipping through and I saw him. And I immediately dropped a bill. I immediately asked that we draw up a bill to ban that because, quite honestly, that is a violation of people's privacy.
Yeah.
I don't have to carry a passport for whether or not I have an MMR vaccine or any other of the vaccines that are deadly. Those viruses and those diseases are deadly.
Right.
So that was the first thing. And now we have this new thing with Rutgers and many of the New Jersey colleges mandating that students get the vaccine, but not mandating that of their staff is my first problem, right? Like that's right. The fact that they're mandating it all is very frustrating to me. So I did drop a bill to ban that. Any college in the state of New Jersey that takes state funding will be banned from forcing children and the students from getting a vaccine.
Awesome. That's
we,
awesome.
we just don't know enough about
Mm-mm.
this vaccine. And it's, a vaccine prevents disease. This just keeps you from getting sick from it. We've had, we just had it this week with the Yankees, right? 8 people after being fully vaccinated, tested positive, but none of them have any symptoms. So the vaccine is doing its job.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's walk through, Serena, let's walk through some of these because they're all connected. And by the way, I so appreciate, I'm not even in your district. I would just love to be able to vote for you again, because honestly, what you're doing is representing all of us, and dropping these bills are amazing. It's like, I feel like my voice is being heard when I see you do these things. But let's walk through these because they're all related, but they each have their own unique thing. The first thing I want to discuss, though, is the masking situation, because it has an impact. So now we have this strange reaction from our governor. Not really any surprise, but CDC says what they say, right? That we can now, if we're vaccinated, not have masks. He's waiting, and now he's saying outside you don't have to wear one if you're vaccinated. But I don't listen. Call me stupid, but you're saying, what is true, is the vaccine isn't about preventing. It's not about you're not going to pass it. It's about lessening the symptoms. So try to get me to understand here how this masking thing is not a control. How does it make any sense? And why are we not concerned that we're going to be marked really and segregated?
Well, and that's part of the issue too. And so, and that's one of the reasons why the governor said he won't take it away from indoors, because he doesn't want to have that segregation. But listen, at this point, it's a choice for people. People know we're 15, 16 months into this. People know what COVID is. Yeah. And they know, so if I'm vaccinated and by the way, I had COVID and I got vaccinated. Right. So if I'm vaccinated or you're vaccinated, then we should be all right. And if somebody chooses that isn't vaccinated not to wear a mask, well, then it's on them. Right. And quite honestly, there are so many remedies now. There's so many treatments that, you're seeing the numbers of people on ventilators and again, staying in the hospital just plummet, because we're able to take care of all of them so very well. So that's the first thing, so we really need to lift the mask mandate. Our children need to not have masks on in school. They're sitting behind plexiglass. It's really, our kids are being damaged.
Child abuse. Serena, it's child abuse. It doesn't make any sense. And we keep being told science, yet I have yet to see any science that says that these kids are at risk, or even there is science, by the way, that says teachers are actually in a better situation in a classroom in terms of their response to being infected, or their chances of being infected. So here's my question for you. We can all celebrate getting rid of the masks, but if we continue to be under this control of the tyranny of Murphy, and then next cold and flu season, the next time this comes around, can you assure me that we aren't going to be masked up again? See, this is the thing I think people are forgetting. What does the future hold?
Exactly. People, like, I understand people are still afraid. I get it.
Yeah.
I get that people are afraid, and that if you're immunocompromised, you're afraid. Right. And I'm not saying if you are immunocompromised, then you should be taking precautions. Right. But I'm not. Right. So And again, we live in America for a reason. This is about choice, right? We have the freedom to choose and you're right. I think that when it comes down, because we saw 0 cases of flu, or very near 0 cases of flu. So that tells you that there's other things that could be in the works going forward. And for me, that's very disheartening.
Scary.
It's scary. We need to make sure that we get a promise that this is not going to be, a forever thing.
There's something, but Serena, how do we get that promise this is why we need people like you continuing to fight for us. I just so much want to see you back in there, because here's the thing. Murphy said that he will stop the emergency 30 days if he's given the tools, whatever those are, to continue to manage this. This says to me that if we don't get him out of office and we don't get more people like you fighting this, he will use his tools that have been codified into law somehow by forcing the legislator to do that. And he'll just keep doing this to us.
I haven't seen the legislation. He said that he's working with Sweeney and Coughlin. Again, the minority doesn't
Right.
get included. I mean, our leaders should be included, John Bramnick
Right.
and Tom Kane, but they're not, as far as I
Right.
know. So it's going to be an uphill battle for sure. We need
Yeah.
to make sure that we have to. Everybody has to pay attention, and you know what?
Yeah.
People have to take personal responsibility too. The flu season, it depends on the strain, but if we
Sure.
wash our hands and take care of what we're supposed to, cover your mouth, and if you're sick, stay home.
Yeah,
If you're sick,
exactly.
stay home. The
Yeah.
legislature put in that every person who works gets 5 days off for whatever. They don't even have to. It could be that their neighbor's cat is sick and they want to take the day off.
Anything. Right.
So there's no reason why people don't stay home now if you're sick.
Right.
So
Common
that's
sense.
something. So hopefully some of these, Senator Tester is with me on the COVID
Mhm.
passports that he and I have a companion bill. So we'll do
Let's
that.
talk about that one. Let's talk about the passport one, because here's another question for you, Serena, is how do we know that private businesses won't require this though? Talk about what that bill
So
says.
now it's a little bit tricky when it comes to private business, because you don't really want to tell a private business owner how to run a business, right? But it does violate someone's HIPAA. So I'll tell you a quick story. My son was in a sporting goods store this weekend, and he actually said, he was walking in without a mask. He said, no more masks. He doesn't really wear the mask before that, but and the guy said, I'm sorry, you need to put a mask on. He said, well, I'm about to spend a significant amount of money in your store. Do you want me to leave? And the guy said, never mind. And then a few minutes later, people started taking off their masks.
Wow.
I was like, you have to put your, and my son just turned to him and said, it's over. Stop.
It's over.
And the guy
Stop.
just said, okay, I'm not going to. So I think it's a little bit of that. I think that, people have to say, no, I'm not going to tell you if I had the COVID vaccine. And, people have to take responsibility. Government can't do everything for everyone. And so we need to step up ourselves and just say, no, I'm not going to tell you if I had the COVID vaccine. It's not your business. I don't have to tell you if I had any other vaccine. I don't have to tell you if I had, if I had my physical this week. I don't have to tell you my weight. I don't have to tell you anything.
Right.
So, I think that's a little bit of people have to just stand up a little bit more for themselves. And I think that if that happens, I don't see very many businesses asking. I don't think that businesses will ask for it. I think that they know that you're seeing places like, Trader Joe's and Starbucks not requiring masks. And those are some of the more liberal businesses in our community. So if they're not asking for it, some of the others probably won't either. I'm on a thread with restaurants, and they are just so tired of the mask police. And so they've just, stopped. They're not going to ask anymore. And if somebody walks around a restaurant and you know what? If you're not comfortable, stay home. It's okay.
Yes.
You don't have to go out to dinner. You can cook at home. You can order out. Uber Eats and DoorDash all come right to your door, and it's easy.
Yeah.
So,
personal responsibility. Again, it's personal responsibility, Serena. We just somewhat lost that along the way, and it was this greater good thing, which is a dangerous, slippery slope.
And it's okay. There are times when the greater good is important, right? There are times when we have to, like when we first shut down, we knew we had to shut down. It was for the greater good. But there's a point when the greater good is no longer the reason, right? There's a point when the greater good is being just used as an excuse. So, and I think we have well past that point at this point.
Yeah.
So, and we have to just be careful with all our liberties. I just dropped bills today on election integrity.
Good.
So, taking care of that, because our last election, there was lots of stuff that didn't go well.
Yeah.
Certainly things like making sure that people who have passed are not still on the voting rolls.
Right.
Absentee ballots don't get mailed automatically. That's not going to happen anymore. If from one of the bills I dropped, and Dominion machines are going to be, no more as communities, because you don't want an unfunded mandate either. So as communities replace their voting machines, because there's a good number that have them, as they replace them, they can't buy the Dominion. They have to buy with the paper.
Yes.
Paper receipt that people know their vote was counted.
Not only that, but it's a company that's American based, that, all of those obvious reasonable things. And by the way, that's awesome. I didn't know you dropped that bill today. You just keep upping the ante. This is great. This is so exciting.
Because, when you home, right, and you're watching the news, you're seeing what you're like, wait a minute, this shouldn't happen and that shouldn't happen. And, there's just so many things that are going on, and you see that it's unfortunate that we have to legislate some of this stuff. So sometimes you put the legislation in, and you hope that people and the legislators and some communities actually do the right thing, right? You
Yeah.
just hope that you don't need the legislation in the end, but
Right.
it's there so that
Right.
we can do it. So hopefully, I was on the NJGOP election integrity committee with
Right.
a whole group of a whole bunch of other people, and we came up with 4 pieces of legislation. The fourth one, I dropped 3 today. The fourth one, was still working out some kinks on it. And
Excellent.
we'll see what happens about ballot drop boxes.
Yeah.
We're limited to bringing in 3, but who's watching the drop box,
I
right?
don't
So
know.
having the video available,
Yes.
video surveillance, so those kind of things to just protect the integrity of our election system. Our forefathers, our forefathers to today, so
Yeah.
many have died to protect that
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We can't just give it away so easily. We can't just allow for, elections to be gerrymandered or
Or
so.
questionable in any way. I mean, I love that you're listening to the people, because this is what we hear all day long, are the questions, why bother, why vote? And you continue to address those. You're also addressing the issues. You brought up restaurants before, and I know you went in on a bill to help them out as well with Senator Bucco,
Mhm.
and it was about a tax holiday. Can you explain that bill?
Yes, so this is a tax holiday, and what it will do is allow for these restaurants not to have to pay tax to the government. They would still collect the tax, but it would help their coffers. And
Yeah.
so it's just that. And a lot of other states have done these things when the economy needed a boost or the restaurants needed a boost, and it worked wonderfully in in the other states. So we said, you know what, let's do that here. So Senator Bucco is the sponsor on the Senate side, and I'm on the Republican side, on the Assembly side with Krista Phillips. Chris and I started right before COVID. We started the Tax Cut Caucus.
Yes.
Started working on ways to cut taxes. Another bill we have is to the corporate tax. If you look at North Carolina reduced their corporate tax more than half, and they have increased their revenues by triple or quadruple.
Wow.
Something, right? And
Yeah.
today in our budget hearings, because I'm also on the budget committee, which some days is headbanging, but today in the budget committee, they were like, you can't compare us to North Carolina, you have to compare us to Massachusetts. So I'm like, people are the states you want us to compare you to, the people are fleeing those states too.
That's right. That's
This
right.
is why people, New Jersey is a better place to live. It's got proximity to New York City. It's got beautiful, parks and beautiful
Right.
shorelines. But you know what? If you can't afford to live here, you're going to find somewhere else, and then you'll just fall in love with North Carolina or South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And the families don't come back. So absolutely. See it, and it works, right? It encourages the businesses. We're losing jobs. And now we have all this money that Murphy brought in. We have this surplus, right? Which is a joke.
Yeah. $4.5 billion surplus. That's like taking a loan on your credit card and putting it in your mattress and saying you have a rainy day fund.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just so crazy. There was no reason to take that loan.
No reason.
We asked them to hold off on it. We fought them on it tooth and nail, and they went ahead anyway, even knowing that the numbers were coming in better than they predicted. And quite honestly, the Supreme Court, the way they ruled, the fact that they allowed them to do that, to cover a budget gap, when twice before it was told they were not allowed, like twice before we won that lawsuit, twice before the Democratic legislature and Democratic governors tried to do that, and then the Supreme Court sided with us, and this time they gave it to Murphy, because the court is different now. The court is, for the last decade or so, it's been a very liberal court. It's just
right. Well, that's what happens when you put the wrong people in office, and then they put the wrong people in the judiciary. So it's unfortunate. As King Murphy, as I call him, because that's really what he is, he continues to give us back our rights, sort of, right? And it's the sense that he's starting to give us back our life. I mean, this is clearly manipulative. Coming November, and there's a race for him to try to win re-election.
Oh, there will be a gas tax reduction before you. Mark my words. There will be a gas tax reduction before the election, because they review it in August, And I will
Wow.
promise you now, mark my words, May 17th, that there will be a gas tax reduction right before the election, because gas
Yeah.
prices are skyrocketing, and he's collecting money because they based the gas tax on consumption. We
Yeah.
were closed down.
Yeah. It's like there was no
So that's
consumption.
why they're allowed to do it. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The DOT commissioner and I went toe to toe last year because the way they did the budget, it was like 2 sections of budget. And we went toe to toe, and she's like, nope, it's not going to pick up. It's not going to pick up. And sure enough, it has. So
Wow.
they raised taxes on the gas, and then they raised your tolls in
Yeah.
the middle of a pandemic, because there was let us go back to work, and you won't see that it's so frustrating.
It
And
is
then they
frustrating.
take the toll money and they give it to New Jersey Transit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It's very frustrating, Serena. That's why we need you to continue to fight. All these bills are incredible. Your knowledge, the fact that, you've been fighting for lower taxes for us since you've gotten there. All of this is just incredibly valuable. And just, I appreciate you doing that. I have actually a little birthday surprise for you. Ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
Hi.
Look who's here.
Oh, hello.
Happy birthday, Serena.
Listen, thank you.
You're welcome.
One of your biggest fans.
Yes, she is, and I'm hers, because she's always working. She's on that Twitter like no other. She really is. She pushes. She makes sure. She's really wonderful. She's really one of my favorite people in the world. So
well, listen, I asked Melissa to come on because I thought, okay, who can I ask to surprise you on your birthday? Because you agreed to do an interview on your birthday, which alone, you deserve your crown for. But Melissa not only is a good friend and a big fan and a constituent, but she knows why you're so valuable in the assembly. She knows you well. She's fought alongside you for medical freedom issues. So I wanted Melissa as a voter, because we don't just need, just name people all the time. We need the normal, right? You and I, the people that vote every
people
day.
on the street. Yeah.
On the street, to tell us why Serena is so valuable, because it is so important that on June 8th that we ask District 13 to vote for Serena. So Melissa, talk about why she's so important to you.
Well, first, she's amazing. She is. I mean, she is a true champion for medical freedom, parental rights. She's always available. All the years that I've been lobbying in Trenton, she's always made herself available. She's easy to talk to. She's smart. Her husband's a physician, which is very helpful, right? When
it is helpful, yes.
Choice.
People think I'm talking off the cuff. I listen. I learn.
Yes. I mean, it's very important. And, I'm a nurse in New Jersey. So, her and I have had many conversations. I've sent her a lot of literature on why, maintaining parental choice is important for us in New Jersey. And quite frankly, I want someone I could trust. And I know that when they get in that seat, they're going to vote the way they said they will.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. That is one of the things that people forget. It's one thing to run an election. I think sometimes those of us that advocate for certain issues during the election, we feel like we're being heard. And then all of a sudden we're out on the lawn with our megaphones again, and we've lost the attention. And I mean, that's what makes Serena unique, is that she listens. And Melissa, specifically there's this, this thing coming up on Friday to protest the mandate. Started with Rutgers, but now we're seeing all these universities fall into this mandate for the COVID. And Serena's put forth this bill to defund them, basically. That's kind of what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, Melissa, from your standpoint, you have worked on this issue for so many years. How scary is this mandate that's coming out of all these universities?
Very scary. And really, it's scary because it's still under EUA.
Yeah.
What are we doing? This is an experimental vaccination at this point. Right. We're still collecting data. We have no long-term studies. We have no safety and efficacy. We're seeing some adverse events happening, and we need to address them before mandating this on our young college students.
Yeah, absolutely. And Serena, the bill that you put forward.
You don't know how it's going to affect somebody going forward. I mean, they have been studying mRNA, and they have been doing that stuff, but not maybe in this combination. And so, just let the parent make the choice, right? It's the same with what's the one for uterine cancer and stuff? What's that? Like, why would you, right?
Gardasil.
Gardasil. Why would you make a parent mandate that? Let the parent decide and the child, and there's plenty of information out on it, and let the parent, like, they tried to mandate that at one point as well.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
you
they
know,
did.
And they
fought back on it too. I mean, it was really, I have to tell you though, when the medical freedom people came to Trenton, it was just amazing. You know, when you saw them and the drum, I could still hear the drum banging in the background. It really, and they came inside and a funny story. I think Melissa knows the story. I'm walking through the hallways and this gentleman grabs my arm and he's like, "I want to talk to you about plastics."
What are you
Not this
Today?
time.
Like, are you kidding me? You came to Trenton today? It's not even on the He's like, well, I'm like, yeah, today's not the day, dude.
No.
Give me your card. I'll call you next week. I mean, the poor thing. He was like, you know, he's like, I just wanted to talk to you about plastics. I'm like, you're not today.
Not today.
That's how many people were there. It was really amazing. It was really amazing, and it just shows you that people care about issues, and people want you to do what's right, and that was right.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, it did pass the assembly, but with a little luck, it didn't pass the Senate. Didn't even get on the floor for a vote, so
Yeah.
it died. And
but this is a marathon. This is a marathon, and we need legislators that are willing to run that marathon with us.
Yes.
And I know that you are certainly one that will. So
thank you.
You always have my support.
And, you know, specific to that win, it was a win, you know, definitely in a battle, but not the war, because the next morning, what happened? It was reintroduced. So it's sitting there, right? And there are concerns about lame duck session and all of that. So, you know, this is, again, why parents that are listening, people that understand how important it is to conserve our right to make choices for our children, for our own bodies now, in terms of what we put into them. You know, Serena has fought for us. She will continue to fight for us. And you need to understand that. So anybody that lives in her district, which is Monmouth, it's District 13, you need to get in touch with them. And if it's you, great. You know who you're voting for. Look for her name on that column. You've got Phil Rizzo at the top. You go down to Serena. You know that she has a proven record, and it is absolutely impeachable. And you were there standing up for us. And I'll have to tell you what, I know Melissa and I are kind of saying, are we going to be back out there next January? I mean, you know, it's scary.
No, I hope not. I think the good thing that's happening is that the redistricting didn't take place. And so there are lots of, legislators that might be a little bit worried about getting new constituents and being redistricted. And it'll be interesting. So I'm not sure those bills will actually see the light of day. Maybe in another 2 years, it might drop again after that, but they'll be careful, I think, going forward. And again, you know, while I'm Legislative District 13, which is, you know, part of Monmouth, if anybody has an issue or a problem, I'm happy to help them. Bill Spady has always given out my phone number on the radio, and people call all the time, and we just help them. We just know that a lot of them aren't getting service from their own legislator for one reason or another. A lot of the legislators are full-time back in the office. My staff went back in last June or July. They were like, we're good, we're going in. So we're able to do and help. So if people have an issue, they're more than welcome to call my office, and we'll do our best to help them.
Well, I was going to ask Melissa what makes you different, because Melissa works with a lot. She talks to a lot of politicians, a lot of legislators on both sides of the aisle. She has experience doing that. So you kind of answered the question, but Melissa, I was going to ask you what makes Serena different, because she is different than the rest of them. And is it that?
Yeah, well, she's available.
Yeah.
So, you know, the past year, we haven't had access to the State House at all. You know, we haven't been able to really lobby the way that we had in the past. So it's difficult because, you know, there's a lot of issues happening, this pandemic, and we haven't been able to really meet face to face and have, you know, important conversations. But she's always willing to pick up the phone. I send a text message, hey, can I run something by you? She's there within minutes.
Yeah.
So, you know, she really cares for her people and cares for her town. So that's what we want in Trenton.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Every legislator to care about the people.
And it is hard to lobby now because you can't get in. I mean, we're just back in for voting sessions only. We're still on Zoom as well. And it makes it very difficult because at least if you're allowed in the building on like the man with the plastics, he at least came because that's what he knew to come, because you can't avoid us then, right? We can't avoid you. Right. We have to look at you, right? You're face to face. So we're now, you call the office, we get back. If they get back, they get back. If they don't, they don't. But if you can come in on a voting day, there's no getting around you.
So did the poor plastics guy, did he ever get to talk to you?
Yeah, I called him the next week. I took his card. I called him next week. It was about, when because they're banning, and it's not going to take effect until after the re-election.
Right, the bags.
After the election. So, but we've banned plastics, straws, styrofoam, just about any way to take your food home. And, so you, I don't know. I guess you carry it home in your hand.
I don't know.
We have tons of masks though now.
Well, we have tons of masks though. Absolutely. Well, the way Melissa describes you, Serena, is why so many people across the state are coming out to support you and always have. And it's, the Patriots, the medical freedom movement, especially women, mothers who understand that you're fighting. We feel like we're fighting for the future of our children. And sometimes it feels so personal, right, Melissa? And I know you understand that, Serena. So, your background is amazing and you have the medical piece of it. And you get that you just want to give us our options. We just want to be able to choose. That's all we're asking for.
It's not, I'm not telling you can't get the vaccine or you have to get the vaccine. You should be able to choose if you get them. You talk to your doctor and you go through it for you and you decide for you. When people you would do that for anything else, right? If you got God forbid you got diagnosed with cancer, you would talk with your doctor about the best treatment for that. That's the way it should be. If your child, has it, falls down, you call the doctor. Should I take an x-ray? Yes. Okay. Bring him for the x-ray. Oh, it doesn't look fractured. Maybe it is. I don't know. But you decide with your doctor.
Yeah.
The other day at the mask rally, somebody had a sign that said, I don't need the government co-parenting with me. And that's exactly what this is. We don't need to co-parent with you.
Thank you.
She's right. I mean, informed consent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it is, where it needs to be.
From top to bottom. When even some of the requirements now, kids aren't learning math and science and reading because we have so many other things we have to teach the kids that they're not getting they're not getting the 3 R's. Let parents teach their children about all of that other stuff. There's no reason for listen, my kids are old, right? I'm 26 to 31. I'm good. But there's no reason for Melissa's children to be in school and learning about stuff that is really a private matter. I tell the story often. I taught CCD, religious education, for 14 years. And one of them, for 10 or 11 years, I taught second grade. And it was First Holy Communion. And you teach the commandments. And one of them was adultery. Now, how do you explain to 7 and 8-year-olds what adultery is? You know how you explain it? You fold that page over and you go, when you go home, tell mommy and daddy they have to read you page 18 and let them figure it out. And then mommy and daddy will explain it any way mommy and daddy want it to be explained to them.
It's the kitchen table. It should be done at the kitchen table.
Because that's not for me to teach you.
Yes.
Me to say adultery is one of the 10 commandments that you can't break. Oh, what is that? That's on page 18. Mommy will tell you.
Ask mommy. Yeah, absolutely. We need to keep them away from all of that. Absolutely. And by the way, Pete Dunn here said, don't forget the dads. So forgive me because I don't want to forget the dads. We focus so much on the moms.
We had
so many dads.
The twins. He was awesome. He was excellent. So yes, we know. Yes, there's moms and dads that both are very concerned. We're
more
just
and more.
Moms. That's why we're talking like moms.
Yeah. Well, 3 moms here, but more and more dads are getting involved and we're seeing it and we love that. Great. It's so important. It's so important. So you know what, Pete, you can help Serena as well. We take dad's help, mom's help, everybody's help, right? So Serena, tell everybody how they can help. I mean, they can make phone calls, they can knock on doors, they can tell people about you, but let's actually give them a way to contact your campaign.
So I think the best way to contact my campaign is just to email me directly and then I'll send them. So it's easy. My first name and last name, Serena DiMaso @gmail.com. It's easy. It comes right to me. You know, I have an istandwithserena@gmail.com. But that's a friend monitors that for me. And, you know, if he gets busy, I don't always get all those. So just email me direct, and I'm happy to you know, set you up, whatever. You can instant message me on Twitter or Facebook. I'm on all of those platforms. And, you know, it just, if people would like to, I can set you up at your house, and you could just call from your home. You don't even have to leave your house if you'd like to make phone calls on my behalf, which would be great.
Yeah.
But, you know, most importantly is we need to make sure people get out on June 8th. You know, I'm in column 4 under Phil Rizzo. And so as long as people remember to vote on June 8th, then we're going to take this thing home.
Right. Absolutely. Remember to vote June 8th, Serena DiMaso. And Melissa, let's let her get back to her happy birthday party. Any last words as she leaves us?
Happy birthday, Serena.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your best year. Your best year is this one.
This is so yes. So yes, it's an exciting time. I asked the governor today to get rid of the mask mandates as a birthday wish. He said no.
Oh, well.
Actually, what he said was, if I did that, then you wouldn't be able to take another shot at me. So I wouldn't want to take that away from you on your birthday. I'm like, okay. So instead, I'm asking for people to vote for me for my birthday present, and then, you know, let's win, and that'll be a gift to yourself, because I promise you I'll always work hard for all of you.
Yes, a vote for Serena is a vote for your voice. So thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Melissa, that was a great surprise.
Isn't that fun? So much. Everybody, don't forget to vote for Serena. Serena, go enjoy your birthday. Thank you. We'll talk to you guys soon. Good night, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.